Hello guys. Welcome back to GDT Tech Reviews. In this video we are going to do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best Android phones 2021. So let us get started and the review based on our studies and small research. If you have any personal suggestion, do let us know in the comment section. If you are for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon for more videos. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use to for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. So let's get started. Motorola ditched the 1080p display on the 2020 G Power for a lower res 720p screen. At 6.5 by 3.0 by 0.4 inches, HWD, and 7.3 ounces, the G Power is chunky but manageable with one hand. Its weight is well distributed, making it easy to hold for long Netflix binges. On the front of the phone you'll find a 6.6-inch, 1600 by 720 pixel hole punch LCD. Although the updated G Power's display is just a touch larger than last year's 1080p display, the lower resolution means you're losing out in the deal. The display is dim and reflective. There's something very likable about the Google Pixel 4a's design. It's not flashy or in your face, in fact it's the exact opposite, and yet it looks attractive. Google has used a unibody polycarbonate shell with a soft touch matte finish. It looks nice and doesn't attract fingerprints. The Pixel 4a is relatively slim at 8.2mm and really light, at just 143 grams. The overall compact dimensions of the body and the rounded edges make it a very comfortable phone to handle. The volume and power buttons are placed on the right, and offer good tactile feedback. There's a headphone jack on the top, a tray for a single nano SIM on the left, and the speaker and USB Type-C port on the bottom. The Google Pixel 4a only accepts a single physical SIM, but it does support an additional eSIM. The Google Pixel 4a uses the Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G SoC, which is not the most powerful SoC you'll find in phones at this price, but is good enough. There's 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 128GB of storage, which again, are fairly adequate. The Pixel 4a supports 4G VoLTE, LTE, dual-band Wi-Fi AC, Bluetooth 5, NFC, and 4 satellite navigation systems. There's no wireless charging or IP rating, but you do get stereo speakers. The Pixel 4a also features Google's Titan M security hardware for biometric authentication and other security-related functions. Galaxy Note series phones typically push the boundaries of size, and have often been derided for how large they are. The Note 20 Ultra has a 6.9-inch screen, but thankfully the curved sides and narrow borders all around mean that the phone itself isn't ridiculously huge. It's still more than a handful, but not completely outrageous by today's standards. You might have trouble fitting it in some pockets, and you definitely don't want to use it one-handed all the time. The 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED screen supports HDR10+ and has a QHD+ resolution of 1440 by 3088, although it's set to run at 1080 by 2316 by default. Even more interesting is the variable refresh rate feature. You can choose between 60Hz and adaptive, which dynamically scales up to 120 Hz but can also scale down to 30 Hz or 10 Hz, if there's only static content on screen. This is said to improve battery efficiency. You can't lock the screen to 120 Hz though, and you can't run it at this refresh rate and the full resolution at the same time. You get a 4500 mAh battery and USB PD fast charging, which means you can share the same charger with a laptop and other devices. OnePlus hasn't gone too crazy with the design of the OnePlus 9 Pro, which can be a good or a bad thing, depending on how you see it. I don't really mind it. The core shape and dimensions make this phone similar to the OnePlus 8 Pro, however the 9 Pro is slightly thicker at 8.7mm and a bit lighter, 197 grams. It has an aluminium frame, and Gorilla Glass on the curved front and back. It looks and feels premium, but I'd recommend the pine green or stellar black colors which have matte finishes, versus the mirror gloss finish of the Morning Mist trim that I have. The OnePlus 9 Pro is a tall smartphone, but I quickly got used to the placement of the volume and power buttons. Tactile feedback is good and the alert slider works as expected. There's no headphone jack but the dual SIM tray, USB Type-C port, USB 3.1 Gen 1, and bottom firing speaker are in the same positions as they are on the 8 Pro. The OnePlus 9 Pro keeps the IP68 dust and water resistance rating of its predecessor but gets an upgraded 50 watts, up from 30 watts, wireless charging system. More on this later. OnePlus has switched to an LTPO OLED display for the OnePlus 9 Pro, which the company claims cuts power consumption by up to 50% compared to the previous model. The S21 Ultra also addresses the autofocus issues that plagued the S20 Ultra by adding a dedicated laser module to assist that exercise. The retooling makes it a comfortable camera phone to recommend, and the new telephoto lenses put it in a league of its own that no other readily available phone can currently compete with. We've been finding the S21 Ultra to be big where it needs to be while minimizing everything you don't want to see. For example, its large display stretches the hand at 6.8 inches, yet the curved edge-to-edge screen means that bezel is almost non-existent and that 40MP front camera hides behind a tiny punch hole that's easy to ignore after a few minutes of watching a video. The Galaxy S21 Ultra screen is Samsung's first, among smartphones, that's capable of running at a smooth 120Hz refresh rate while in a pixel-packing Quad HD resolution. This was long due, as every other previous Samsung flagship forced us to choose between a higher resolution or a higher refresh rate. This is still Samsung's best screen, but for many other reasons.